What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Learn, Plan, Profit. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day. So let's go ahead and kind of get this going. Hope you guys are all having an amazing Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. And I'm just going to follow up with a couple stocks that I saw that were actively trending up during pre-market hours. And um, I'm going to go on from there. And then after that, I'm going to answer any questions or any breakdowns that you guys have. I'm all yours after that. So let me go ahead and start breaking them down. If you guys can give me like about 5 minutes, and then I'll start breaking them down after. Um, I'll start breaking out any suggestions. But as of right now, don't don't feel needed to share your pick right now. What's going on, David? What's up? What's up? So I'm gonna try to, my setup is a little bit different here on my laptop, obviously, than my desktop. As you guys can see, it definitely does look a little bit different. Very quickly, there is some consolidation happening right now with ticker symbol MU. It still has some margin to give off if it ends up continuing to sell off. What I would do is, do you guys see that it's still trending below, right, this EMA indicator? Now, I don't just want to see it break below, or above the EMA indicator, but I wanted to break an actual resistance to show signs of an obvious uptrend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the 59.92. There we go. So I just set that alert, and I'm going to move on from there. All right. Alright, as we can see right here, looks like, just like we called out, what was that, either on Thursday or on Friday, when we were talking about this reversal pattern on JNUG. This is something that we talked about within the morning live chat for the people that are enrolled in Learn, Plan, Profit. We talked about the resistance that it had right around 1440. We talked about the support that it had around 1380. One thing that I do want you guys to keep a pretty close eye on is this kind of descending resistance that it's been building. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Like, it's been making lower highs. And it's something that I've been noticing, that as it also pushes down, or as it sells off, when it recovers, the recovery isn't as high, right? And then when it sells off, it broke the support a little bit more consistently last time, and then again it pushes up, but it doesn't recover to as high as it was the previous time. So just something to take into consideration, especially if you are trading the inverse, which is JDST, and seeing kind of more of this upward staircase pattern rather than this downward staircase when it comes down to trading something like JNUG. So what's going on, Sky Bella Abel? So Ricky, maybe here from Cameroon. Oh, what's going on? Gary, that's very disappointing. You were in New Jersey and didn't let me know. I posted on my Instagram that I was in New Jersey, but I was there for like 30 minutes catching a layover. Yeah, it was nothing but just flights and traveling yesterday. I really personally did not like it, and I do apologize for all those that I did inconvenience when it comes down to the Sunday stock talk and stuff like that. You guys have to imagine, like, that was the only thing like on my mind the entire flight. But let me go ahead and break down this one. So this is ticker symbol LBD. LBD made lower lows today, so that's 2460. The inverse of LBD is LBU. So if you guys are looking for something that's currently actively trending up, then that would definitely be the case. But it definitely does look like LBD is trying to, identify some form of recovery or some form of reversal, and that's why I think that when looking at the MACD indicator, when looking at the RSI, I would keep this one in your watch list and set those alerts for this potential reversal when it can potentially start curling back. This would be more as a short-term swing trade. I'm sorry, it's either a short-term swing trade or a day trade if you feel more comfortable just with that understanding. And the reason why is because of this descending pattern and how it normally continuously gets rejected right around this SMA indicator. So as long as you understand that, then I think that you should be all set and all ready to go. We could set our alerts for $26, just depending on where it is that you feel comfortable setting them. We could also set the alert for the break, above around the EMA indicator. I'm going to set my alert just so it continues to remind me throughout my trip at around 2550. I'm going to have an extremely busy day, and I just know that I'm not going to have time to actually trade. So I'm going to make sure that I'm very efficient with those alerts that I set up. I also just got an alert on my phone, and I want to just verify it. It looks like DGAS is now pushing up and UGAS is now pushing down, and that's exactly what we talked about. If you guys don't remember, on Friday, that's exactly what we talked about because of DGAS being back at the support at around $22, and UGAS being at its resistance. And if you guys have noticed, actually, there is something, like on my flight, I felt very like unproductive. I couldn't even get any rest. What I wanted to do was like, what is it that I can do to like catch up on some work? I worked on some videos for you guys, and I don't know if you guys are gonna actually be able to see it. Let me actually check it out. But it's for those that are enrolled in the Learn Plan Profit lesson library. And you guys can see right here. So it's like, day trade, how to know when to buy and when to exit, and then the time frames EMA. So it's a more in-depth example of each and every single one. It's one of the most like requested videos that I've been asked for, and I made it specifically just for those that are part of Learn Plan Profit. And this should be uploaded either today or tomorrow. They're fully filmed and edited, ready to be uploaded. So I hope that those videos, if you've been struggling with identifying like what time frames to use, as well as for entries and exits when it comes down to day trades, and what visual confirmations or pattern confirmations I look for. I did give a couple examples, and I wanted to make sure that I utilized the time that I had available to catch up on some work. So I want you guys to know that I was thinking about you guys the entire time that I was traveling, and what I can do to make up the inconvenience of me missing the Sunday stock talk. So, but I would keep on high alert. Something like DGAS. DGAS again at previous support, and with the overall resistance around this SMA indicator. We've talked about this multiple times before. I actually talked about it in one of the videos that we just finished filming. And as you guys can see, it's trying to trade in between the middle and top VWAP. Also, be sure to do your due diligence on the /. Oh no. That was weird. Be sure to do your due diligence on /NG and the overall descending pattern that should be showing. If you can't confirm a descending pattern, then I would try to maybe stay away from it, right? But as we can see right now, we could see that definitely /NG is showing a little bit more sense of it being overextended. If you want to wait more for a visual confirmation, or actually trending below the EMA indicator, then I would set your alerts around when it breaks below 2.94, and to see if we can catch a decent candle aggressively trending down below this EMA line, showing signs of this reversal pattern. And then if /NG confirms that, then that means that DGAS altogether will start to curl back up. The only thing that I do want you guys to be aware of is that DGAS has been showing signs of a descending pattern. It's been more bearish than bullish. So with that understanding, I would consider day trading or very short-term swing trading DGAS, especially because of the descending pattern that it has and the risk that you take on with that. So just wanted to share that. We talked about DGAS. This has to be one of the top ones that I'm going to be looking at. I wanted to talk about JDST. Very similar pattern for JDST. We talked about JNUG and how JNUG was overextended. I personally think that JDST is now oversold. So I think it's going to take some time for it to consolidate right around like $49, and then we're going to see the pop right back up, and then potentially making higher highs. So JDST, DGAS, and LABD, I think, are ones that this week we might see a slight reversal with. Also, I did get an alert for those that like following it. DRN made newer highs today, broke above $20, and again, I'm trying to stay up to date with all my alerts even throughout my trip here. So I want you guys to know that. And I'm going to be catching up on all direct messages right after this live stream. So if you've direct messaged me or Justin, we have been a little bit delayed just because of our travels yesterday, but we will be catching up. So rocking that JDST. I sold it at market open on Friday and bought it back today at the low later that day. Sweet. But yeah, now I am all yours, and please, when calling something out, please use the ticker symbol, the ticker call out. I'm going to ask you for two things. The ticker must be trading above the 180-day EMA. It must be showing signs of an active uptrend, And if it's not on the 180-day EMA and it's as a day trade, then be sure to state that and that the margin of profit is worth it. If I see that your call out does not show any signs of a reversal and it's still descending and stuff like that, I will look at your username, and then I will not look at any other call outs that you do throughout the day, so or throughout this live stream. Again, we're focusing on quality and what is actively trending up this week, something to look forward to this week. If you don't have anything to call out, just don't call anything out, right? But if you think that you have something of quality to share, feel free to share it, and I'd be more than happy to break it down with a group. If you just have something that you want to break down a little bit more, that you want to break down or share your opinion with, but it's not actively trending up, you might have made a mistake with it, feel free to direct message me or Justin, and we'd be more than happy to assist you. So. Also, what's the EMA, JK? It sounds a little too serious. I know. It's not the too serious. Holy moly, LEBD is freaking recovering. You guys see that? Look at that pop. And it's trading in between. So how do you know when something is actively trending up? That is something that I cover in the new video for the day trades. But it's very quickly, again, middle VWAP, top VWAP, and when it continues that pattern. Right now, it's definitely not the best deal. So I would wait a little bit more for a sell-off and a bounce around this general area. So Raul, he is going to be helping me out. He is just not going to be helping me out today. We're setting up for, we're meeting up with one of our clients today, and we had to set up this whole project that we have to present today. So unfortunately, he didn't sleep till like 4 in the morning or something like that. So he's been getting no sleep. So he wasn't able to join me this time. Let's see. Okay, so we're going with a ticker symbol VALE. So VALE is actively trending down intraday, and it is experiencing a pullback. So this is one that we're following up with, I think earlier or late last week. And the reason that we found this one attractive was because of its continuous upward staircase pattern. It did push up pretty aggressively, and then now it's pulling back. So what we'd like to see is for it to continue to make, higher highs or start reversing back up. So what I can simply do is, as of right now, it's not showing any indication of a continuous uptrend, right? So I'll just set my alerts when it breaks above $14, and if it does, great, I could revisit it, and if it doesn't, then I simply don't have to trade it, right? So great call out, great reminder. As of right now, it's just not one that I see a lot of value in. Ticker symbol MB. Yeah, so I did see ticker symbol MB a couple minutes ago, right before the market opened, and it's still continuing its uptrend pattern, right? It's doing a lot of consolidation. It just broke its resistance at $40, so actually thank you for that reminder. And yeah, I mean, your entry shows to be at 39.50, so I don't know if you've entered already, but it's been a consistent uptrend, 100%. Just be aware of these resistance levels, like around 40, 42, 44, and stuff like that. So as long as you're aware of that, again, it's all about finding the good deal price point, and then where you can sell when there's any indication of a resistance. Even if it's intraday or a swing trade, whatever it is that you feel comfortable, just make sure it's something that you understand. As long as that's something that you understand, I'm all for it. So yeah, and I have MB, it's up 2.93% on the day, and it definitely did shoot up pretty aggressively. So the only thing with that is if, because it's shot up so aggressively, you would expect a pullback. And because of that, just be aware of that. So don't just follow the hype. Just make sure that because it pushed up so aggressively that you don't think that it's just going to, stay up there. So Canes is not a publicly traded company now. Appreciate that, Richard. Thank you. Oh, there goes LEBD. Okay, well, this one's currently trending down intraday, and it looks like it's trying to get another pullback confirmation on this one. Yeah, so this one is actively trending up above the 180-day EMA. It did. Do you guys see what's going on here? So the reason that it's being called out is it was pushing up, it got rejected right by resistance, pulling back, and now what we'd like to see is for it to continue to hold above this price point. So I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to create an alert if it actually breaks below the support or where it should normally bounce at, and also I'm going to create an alert for when it starts to recover. Holy moly, LBD's at 25.73. This thing's really recovering. That's really nice to see. Yeah, there we go, there we go. Alrighty. So this one's currently actively trending down intraday, and okay, so I would mainly treat this as a day trade. I do see why it is that you're calling this one out. After this huge sell-off after its earning, it's been recovering the past couple of days. That definitely makes sense. Also take into consideration the resistance that you might experience close to $9, especially because this 180-day EMA indicator is right here. What I'm going to do is congrats if you've been able to capitalize on this leading up to this point. I think it's too close to the resistance now, and I would be very aware of the resistance at $9. I'm going to set my alert there, so when we get that overall confirmation on that specific ticker itself, we can get that much of a better understanding that it's actively trending up intraday. So great call out on that. Yeah. All right. NTNX. So NTNX, again, just doing that pullback. You guys are calling a lot of stocks out today with those pullback confirmations, which I like. It's actively trending up. So first of all, do you guys all see that? It's definitely actively trending up above this SMA and this EMA, right? It's pulling back. It's one of two things, right? It's going to pull back and either bounce at the EMA line, or it's going to continue to sell off. And we would like to wait for the bounce and then an ongoing confirmation that it's going to continue to recover. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set my alert for when it breaks above $56, just so I can revisit this one, right? Because we want to catch it not when it's bouncing exactly, but when it's bouncing and then recovering. So as long as we get that confirmation, then I can feel that much more confident that at least I'm investing in something that's actively trending up. So Joaquin, or what is this? Yeah. So BNED. BNED was definitely one that so BNET is showing signs of a continuous downward pattern, right? As long as we understand that descending resistance, yes, it's been doing a lot of consolidation right around this resistance of around 650, with this overall underlying resistance of how it continues to get rejected close to or near to this SMA indicator. So please understand the risk involved with that. Yes, it does have some margin of profit to offer, but it doesn't mean 100% that it's actually going to even get to that price point. So please don't force the entry. If you see the momentum picking up and if you see the demand there, then you set up a plan that's going to minimize risk, and that you understand this pattern, that you would understand the difference from a break-if pattern or a pullback. And that's the biggest thing, especially with something that's a descending pattern. So I do think that this can be a good potential trade. The thing that I don't like about this one is that it's been consolidating for so long that the MACD and the RSI has caught up with it. And as of right now, it's not showing any signs of an uptrend, nor really a downtrend, just a lot of consolidation, right? So we needed to break that pattern either above or below to get a better understanding of which one to potentially invest in. So, yeah. LABD exploding, I know. I've been keeping my eyes on it this entire time, so it's really nice to see. Bank of America. So BAC. So BAC, again, doing a lot of consolidation. As of right now, it's not actively trending up. It has also been making lower highs, right? So something that we need to take into consideration. So let's zoom all the way out. First of all, do you understand this pattern? When I see this, what I see is an overall support, right? Normally where it bounces at around $29, and with this descending resistance and Again, trying to identify the low points, so maybe good potential deals, and the higher points, right around maybe $30. Extremely high points, I think, would be around 31. I don't think we could actually hit highs of 31. I think we'll get more closely rejected to this SMA indicator. So that's something that you have to ask yourself: is this trade even worth it, right? Let's say you get an over, because right now it's consolidating. 3 stages in a reversal: the rejection, consolidation, and confirmation. And right now, it's not really in the rejection anymore. It's more in the consolidation. But even from here to around $30, that's about 1 to 2%. And you have to take into consideration like all the stocks that we've traded before and all it is that they have to offer. Like 2% to 3% for a swing trade isn't that great, especially for something that isn't even actively trending up. The ticker symbol, the MU or the MB, right? Those that are actively trending up already, those even show more value than something like this that are actively trending up. And the opportunity cost is also so much greater. So those are just my 2 cents when it comes down to this call out. I do see the margin, I do see the potential, but the opportunity cost based on what else I've seen that's been out there is not the best. So this pattern's a little bit different. It's definitely a little bit more volatile. I would have to say that the volume would probably be low on this one. Yeah, you can tell that the volume's a little bit low just because the candles are a little scattered. And I could see with the overall fluctuation of, these huge pushes up, you can see that it's easily affected by momentum, which means that it could easily be manipulated. So with that understanding, like right now, I do understand why this is being called out. It's breaking above the SMA indicator. It's above the EMA indicator. It definitely makes sense. What I'm going to do is to, put this alert at above $17 to remind me when it's more actively trending up. I even see value in it right now because it's not showing any indication of a reversal. So why is it that I see value in this one? So what's the pattern that I see value in, and why would I potentially invest in it? That's because it's showing signs of an uptrend and it's trending above this EMA indicator. So what would cause for me to cut losses? What would have to influence that? What pattern do I need to see? I would need to see a break of pattern, right? So if I see this thing actively trending up above the EMA indicator and actively trending up, then it would have to do the opposite. It would have to break below the EMA indicator and start to actively trend down. And then that's when I would cut losses. And that's what I need you guys to understand for every single position that you take. You need to understand the difference from a break of pattern and a pullback. And if you don't understand that, then you just need to dedicate a little bit more time to trying to understand these patterns and how it is that they work. So I think that this is a great call out. I think that it does have a lot of margin and opportunity to offer, especially throughout this reversal. But yeah, I have my alert set at 17. I think that would be more a prominent price point where it's going to be more actively trending up. But those are just my 2 cents. So LABD is about to break $26. Holy moly. That is ridiculous. Yeah, I see both of them. Diaz, I see LABD. Where's my JDST call out? Is that one going up? Nope. No, that one's definitely more staying closer to the support. I mean, it's not going up, right? It is recording. I mean, recovering. But there we go. Holy moly. LABD just broke above $26. There we go. So Ferret, as of right now, what I with everything else that we have going on, I don't feel too comfortable taking a position as of right now. But after I'm done with this, I still have a bunch of work to catch up on, and I want that to be top priority. Although I am a trader and investor, I need you guys to know that my main focus has to be my group and my team, as in you guys, and then my team back here, and I need to make sure that I get that work done first before I could even end up wanting to take a position myself. So I'm here to assist you guys, that's why. Yeah, so again, guys, please don't get caught into the hype though. LABD is actively trending up, right? But for how long? It has a strong descending pattern that it's been showing. It's been more bearish. So understand the direction of the company before you take a position. So as a day trade, right? It's definitely been more bullish today, but it doesn't recover forever, right? I can see this thing potentially getting rejected at around $27. And the reason that I say $27 is because that's where the old support was. And looking at previous patterns, right? we could see that it previously got rejected right around this SMA indicator. So, I mean, we could hope that it goes to about $28, but it doesn't actually mean that it's going to. So SESN just broke below its support. um, so someone's calling out Gush right now, so I think someone's knocking at the door. Here, I got it, Caleb. Right, hold up. You got it? This is Caleb, guys. That is so weird. I've never had. Must be cleaning room service. Oh, housekeeping, yeah. Housekeeping? Sorry about that, guys. Alright, let me DKS. Wow. Okay, DKS, we called this one out when it was at the support. So we called this one to be a good potential buy based on when it was at the support, but because of its earnings, we ended up, based on my experience, I just don't like holding stocks during earnings, right? And that definitely makes sense. So as of right now, it's definitely overextended. It's trying to bounce at this EMA line, and the hype is still present. Look at the volume. And that's all I ask you guys to realize is look at the volume and look at the demand right now, and based on the previous demand that you could see based on previous patterns. Do this on your own charts because you'll be able to see it a little and visualize it a little bit better. It makes more sense on why it's all hyped up right now, and I really don't think that this hype is going to last, right? Just like everything else, it dies out, and you don't want to get caught in the very peak of that price point. So make sure that you understand the pattern, make sure that you understand the overall direction of the company, and make sure that you understand its current state. Is it something that's normal, or is it something that's being aggressively influenced, right? So with that understanding, just keep it simple, keep it consistent, and don't force it. If you do see potential in this one, then great, set up a plan and why it is that you see value in it. If you don't see potential in this, right, then simply don't trade it. It's that simple, right? As of right now, DKS is actively trending up. Great. Try to identify a pattern intraday if you want to just treat it as a day trade that you see value in. So as of right now, based on me just looking at it for 1 second, I could see that it's trading in between the EMA and the top VWAP indicator. And first, I have to ask myself, is this margin of profit even worth it? It offers about 1% margin to profit. It might be, but it might also not be. The reason why is if I take a little bit of a step back, if I try to see how much more margin it has to cover, I can take a little bit of a step back and see like, oh, okay, well, then it actually does have a little bit more margin to cover, so it might be worth the opportunity cost, but it doesn't mean that it actually has to be worth the overall margin of profit, right? So let's just make sure that we take that into consideration before we end up taking any next position, and that's all I want you guys to ask yourself. And Joe, I don't think that you did anything wrong with LABD because he said he has 1,000 shares with LABD at $24.98, which first of all was an amazing entry. But you did a great job by covering profits. Yes, it did cover and push up much more aggressively, right? And could this have been like this isn't normal, right? This isn't something that like just anyone could have been like, oh, this is 100% gonna happen. You could see how aggressive this thing is pushing up, and it's something that you need to take into consideration that like, yes, sometimes you do miss out on opportunity based on some things that you just don't understand, that don't make sense, but it doesn't mean that you have to let those things discourage you. All you have to do is like once you see this thing actively trending up and breaking and making higher highs, that is something that I look for when it comes to entry points, is not only when it receives that pullback confirmation, but when the momentum or the overall like just rally of that stock is so aggressive, then if it's not always going to pull back the way that we want it to, but something that it does do when it's actively trending up is it pulls back maybe a little bit and then it makes higher highs. It breaks its previous highs intraday and then it continues to rally, and that's what I see value in. That's for my intraday position. If I see the momentum there, if I see the value being there, then it definitely makes sense on why it is that I want to cover that. So yeah, but just wanted to make sure that that all made sense to you guys. Let me go ahead and cover this. But I think I might have missed out a couple callouts while I was doing a couple breakdowns. So if you guys have any more. Okay, so it looks like the entire biotech index is selling off, and this one is definitely more of a bearish biotech company, so a biotech ETF. So it definitely makes sense on then why something like LABD is pushing up. Something that I've personally been, and I'm asking you guys, something that I've personally been having trouble with for LABD, and I've been doing my own due diligence on. So ENPH just broke below $5. So something that I've been having a little bit more trouble with is finding a future for these biotech companies, one that resonates well with LABD. I found a couple, but they don't actually go into the correlation to the patterns that LABD has to offer, and or LABU, regardless of the two. 100% Joe. And first of all, you have to congratulate yourself because you identified a pattern, which then you were able to take advantage of, that made you money, and you were able to cover at a point that made sense. And it's just because you were able to visualize and identify that value at that 24.98. That's the gold. And make sure that you understand that you go back and you revisit what you saw at that price point that made you see value in LABD. So next time when you're doing your technical analysis and you're trying to identify a pattern that you see value in, that if it shows a similar characteristic, that you're able at least to make sense of it. So again, not only just reviewing your losses, but also reviewing your profits and maybe what we could have done a little bit better. Yeah, that's the index though. I'm trying to look for a future, not an index. So the ones that I'm receiving right now are all indexes. So BXI, and these are all indexes, and I don't like those. No. Yeah, this is still an index. And the things that I don't, I mean, we can go off of this, but I don't like indexes. It's like when trading Gush and Drip, and then people call out that the SB, what is it? The SP, SBI or IOS, whatever it is. It's an index and it doesn't correlate the same as futures. Because I like doing my analysis like even after the markets close, and I can't do that with these what's it called? Yeah, so that's something that I'm gonna have to follow up with. So IBB has a correlation. I think you guys, that must be LBB, right? Because I can't find IBB. Okay, there we go. IBB, okay. And let's see where the overall support would be for this. Again, now looking at different time frames, seeing where it makes more sense for there to be a potential recovery. So looking at the series of different time frames, again, when it had a sell-off and stuff like that, looks like it built a pretty solid distance from the SMA indicator. Even from the SMA indicator on the 20-day 1 hour. Yep, still has a pretty solid distance to cover, and that's very attractive for something like LABD as of right now. Yeah, I was trading LABD on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. I took a small position, but I ended up exiting right away when I saw that this reversal pattern wasn't very consistent. So let's see. I'm going to look at this a little bit closer. Okay, so it definitely is selling off more aggressively than it has before. And yeah. $100%. So I think this and Garrett, I love that you brought this up. And this is what I love about having conversations with you guys. Is that I'm looking at LABD, right, for an entry because of its recovery that it's having right now. But what did we say? We said that LABD offers a very aggressive descending pattern. What is the current state? It's bearish, not bullish. So with that understanding, this recovery for LABD is most likely based on its previous pattern. So looking at this 180-day analysis is not going to be very permanent, right? So with that understanding, wouldn't it make sense to be on high alert for something like LABU that's bullish, that's actively trending up, and for it to catch its support? It's still very early within the week. Today's the first day, and most likely LABD is not going to, LABD is not going to push and make higher highs most likely throughout the entire week. So what can we do is we can wait for a confirmation and set up a plan on what LABD and LABU have to complete and show obvious indications of a reversal at that price point as well, because then they show the most margin of profit to recover. So great call out, Garrett, and a great reminder to everyone that, especially because we have access to these series of inverse ETFs, that we take it into consideration that when one is almost looking very overextended, right? So when it's looking very overextended, we just need to wait for confirmation of a reversal. This does not mean just to enter LABU for the heck of it. That's not what it means at all. It means to stay on high alert and to be sure that you understand that yes, it can reverse for LABU, but it does not mean that it has to. Its overall state of pattern, yes, it is in favor, but it doesn't mean that it actually has to. So let's just make sure that we take that into consideration. So it says that LABD is hitting 180. There we go. So you can see obvious indication of a resistance right around 2650. Do you guys see that? And it's getting very close to this 180-day EMA. The MACD indicator, you can see that these bars are still starting to show signs of a curve back in, but it's definitely selling off, and you can definitely see that. So looking back at the 1 day, 1 minute, there we go with an aggressive sell-off. And this is one of two aggressive sell-offs that it's had. So let's make sure that we take that into consideration. Is there a break of pattern just yet? No, right? There's no break of pattern just yet. But for others that are currently in, this might be something to look out for. There's the second candle of a sell-off, something to take into consideration. BIDU, there we go, and it's definitely aggressively selling off. So BIDU is actively trading up above the EMA both intraday and on the 180-day. The only thing about this one is asking yourself that question: is this a good deal? I've broken this one down before, and its most common resistance is at around $260. So with that understanding, yes, it does have this margin to cover to about 270, but would it make sense to get in right now as it's approaching that resistance? So buying at closer to the resistance, or would it make more sense that if you're in it right now to cover profits, wait for the break above 260, and if it continues to rally, then to re-enter it once we see that value? But as of right now, it makes more sense to me on why this would be a sell rather than a buy. So I hope that makes sense. Wow, that is the complete opposite of what it was just doing. So CESN just broke above its resistance. HFC. So very overextended. It doesn't look to be like the best deal right now. I find this to be a little bit more of a better deal, right, when it's closer to the EMA indicator, and that's just based on something that's been actively trending up. So I think that this is an amazing call out. And does it have a pretty decent margin? Yeah, the margins are not bad. So I actually really like this one. So I'm going to add this one to my general watch list. So this is ticker symbol HFC. Amazing call out, Al Capone. I hope that you can tell me what your real name is within the Discord chat. But yeah, amazing call out. Thank you again for the friendly reminder on this. Ticker symbol AAL. All right, guys, I am done with the callouts. So after www dots, I'm doing no more callouts. So this one right now is trying to actively trend up. It's too close to the SMA indicator. I would personally stay away. SMA indicator has acted as a resistance before, so I would say that it is more of a sell than buy, and that's just with my opinion. So be sure to do your own due diligence on it as well. DGAS with a little bit of a pullback. Yeah, so it looks like both, I did see that, both DGAS and LABD are pulling back right now. And that's why I kind of almost want to end the live stream, because if I'm going to enter something, it's going to have to be during a pullback as it's actively trending up. So TER. So TER is actively trending up. Yep. Again, I find it to be a better buy closer to the EMA indicator. Also, be aware of this potential resistance right around $40, as $40 was a previous support, and it might act as a new resistance. Something to take into consideration. And also, the overall SMA indicator showing more signs of a peak formation than a cut formation, so more of a resistance. So definitely something to take into consideration as well. Okay, but that is it, team. So again, just doing a quick little follow-up. Which three do I think that this week might, actually which four? So today it's LABD, and maybe LABD maybe for tomorrow as well. I think it does have a little bit more margin to give off. I think it can get anywhere to around $27, maybe $28 if the rally continues and it does not completely pull back. But because I just read your message, Christian, I don't think he would appreciate that. I questioned it for a second, but no, I don't think I can do that. But so there's three callouts. DIAS showing signs of a reversal pattern, JDST showing signs of it being oversold, and then LABD, right, which is the one that we were just trading. LABD, I think, shows the most active current uptrend pattern potential as a day trade, and maybe as another day trade tomorrow if it continues that rally. But I think LABU, because of its state, which is bullish for LABU, I think because it's sold off so much, we just need to wait for the confirmation of the reversal, and this could be a great potential swing trade once we have the confirmation, and that is exactly what we are waiting for. So yeah, that is really just it. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope that for those that were able to tune in for the first time can see how I kind of break things down and how I was able to come up with the DGAS, LABD, and JDST call out, and then also how I was able to make that correlation between LABD and LABU. I want to remind you guys that if you guys just joined us and have any actual questions that are already not covered in the course, be sure to direct message either Justin or I, and I encourage you and I need you guys to complete the entire course within the first 2 weeks of your enrollment before actually actively asking questions. The reason that we say that is we don't want to exhaust our current members with a bunch of FAQs, and I think we could all understand that. We are here to assist you. Feel free to message Justin and I if you have any questions, and that is really just it. So made a quick $300 on LABD. Amy, that is amazing. So happy to hear that. So for all those that are in Fort Lauderdale that are messaging me to meet up, and in the Florida area, I do want to let you guys know that I am here for work, so I do want to meet up with you guys, but I need to finish my work, and my work is going to be for the next 2 days. If I do have free time, I'll be posting on my Instagram account, so you guys can follow me there, and I'll be posting it on my stories. But other than that, I am mainly here for work, and I make sure that we complete what it is that our task is while we're here, and then we can kind of go from there. So I want to thank you guys again for joining me this Monday. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And like always, guys, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.